In 1990, the video game industry was on the cusp of a new hardware generation, pressuring Nintendo to develop and promote their next home console. And what better way to do that than with the next installment in their massively successful Super Mario series. The resulting game was Super Mario World, the one and only Super Mario Bros. Game to release on the Super Nintendo, unless you count Yoshi's Island, which I do not. Regardless of semantics, this will be the concluding episode of my Mario Marathon in celebration of the series' 35th anniversary. My brother and I also did a playthrough of this game a few years ago, but unlike Super Mario Bros. 3, we were indeed able to finish it. And I would like to say right off the bat that out of all the games I've now covered, Super Mario World is easily the most playable by today's standards from a difficulty standpoint. The premise and overall gameplay of Super Mario World is nearly identical to Super Mario Bros. 3, with the only twist being the inclusion of the character Yoshi, Mario's noble steed. Yoshi is functionally comparable to a power-up, however he does not get rid of Mario's current power-up, and he can sometimes be reclaimed after being abandoned. Yoshi can eat a variety of objects and enemies, occasionally gaining additional powers depending on what he eats. Other power-ups include all the traditional ones from Super Mario Bros. 1, as well as the new Power Balloon, which allows Mario to float up and down for a short time, and the Cape Feather, which is more or less a modified Super Leaf from Super Mario Bros. 3, with the biggest difference being how players can fly further by performing a circular motion on the D-pad. The new power-ups like Yoshi and the Cape hold more individual potential, giving them greater significance and use, as opposed to Super Mario Bros. 3 where some of them were either too situational or just a slight variation of an existing ability. The world map makes a return, albeit with less utility. There are no minigames, roaming Hammer Bros, or items that aid the player's progression. However, there are branching pathways and a handful of these colored switches that add platforms to upcoming stages, making them easier. Instead of equipping items prior to entering a stage, there is a box at the top of the screen that holds one power-up in reserve, and players can activate it at any point during a level. I can't say for sure whether I like this system better than the old one, but both are helpful in their own right, so I appreciate the mechanic nonetheless. As for Mario's base moveset, the only new additions are the ability to kick objects upwards, and a special spin jump which can destroy specific blocks and make Mario impervious to certain enemies beneath him. The L and R buttons will shift the camera left and right, improving the player's horizontal awareness. This somewhat mitigates the visibility issues I had with the NES games, and although it's not a perfect solution, it is a decent compromise for a lack of screen space. Mario has just about the perfect amount of weight and speed to his movements, making him a blast to control even without power-ups. Of course, this is only one side of the equation, as a compelling movement system can only thrive when paired with complementary level design. And like before, my enjoyment varied from level to level. For better or worse, many level concepts are carried over from Super Mario Bros. 3, including auto-scrollers and platforms that move along rails. I'm still not a fan of either idea, but there are times when the latter is designed around creative and engaging obstacle courses, so it is better conceived here. The level layouts are overall very grounded, content to challenge players with a decent balance of stage gimmicks and deliberate enemy placements. But even so, some of them commit the unpardonable sin of wasting the player's time. While auto-scrollers aren't nearly as prevalent, the game replaces them with this gimmick where parts of the stage will shift around, revealing platforms and endangerments, restricting and allowing movement in fixed intervals completely out of the player's control. This and other similar ideas result in a frustrating game of stop and go, which stifles the excitement and forward momentum these stages might have otherwise had. Another gimmick that tends to halt players' progress comes in the form of these ghost houses, where the challenge is to manipulate elements in the stage in a specific way to uncover a hidden path forward. While this puzzle-based level concept is not a problem in and of itself, the idea is not well suited for a platformer, where the point is to design an experience where players can simply enjoy maneuvering their character around the levels in a timely manner. and anything that forces players to stop or play the waiting game is not conducive to such a goal. But I don't want it to sound like the whole game is this way, because that's definitely not the case. If we ignore these missteps for a moment, Super Mario World features some of the most varied, delightful, and intricate levels the series has seen up until now, and that's partially because most of them feature secret exits which unlock special levels and shortcuts on the world map. There are 72 levels in total, but the game is beatable in well under 40, meaning that a large portion of the game's content is locked behind hidden criteria. There are 2 entire worlds that can only be accessed by discovering these secret exits, not to mention the many stages available on the standard 5 worlds. Super Mario World is a game defined by its secrets, so I think it's appropriate that I discuss my thoughts on the topic. Like many others, I love the process of discovering secrets in my games, but there is a time and a place for it, and in a linear platformer such as this, I believe they should be optional so as to not disrupt the pacing on a normal playthrough. Luckily, Super Mario World mostly adheres to this philosophy, with the one exception being the Forest of Illusion, which to me is the worst section in the game. Here, players must find the hidden exits in order to progress, forcing those unaware to replay stages they've already finished. In general, though, the rewards for discovering secret exits are optional levels and shortcuts, and that is the preferable way to handle it, even if I don't like the idea of redoing linear stages just to find them. Super Mario World isn't as big or impressive as Super Mario Bros. 3, but what is here is more polished and better conceived. From the levels, power-ups, and boss fights, to the visuals, music, and game feel, Super Mario World exceeds in nearly every category when evaluated on its own merits. By limiting the amount of power-ups, the developers were able to crank more potential out of each one and design levels that take advantage of their individual traits. Mario is a dream to control, and outside of the ghost houses and other slow-paced stages, most levels do allow for the high speed and athletic gameplay I love about Super Mario, making this the most consistently entertaining game of the classic lineup. The proper handling of secrets ensures that the base game doesn't drag on too long, and it gives returning players a huge amount of replayability. Super Mario World is my personal favorite of the old 2D games, and I consider it a worthy send-off to this era of Super Mario Bros. It's been a lot of fun looking back at Mario's early history through its ups and downs, and despite my harsh criticisms, I can recommend each and every one of these games assuming you're playing a version with modern conveniences. I sincerely thank everyone who has stuck around for this retrospective, and I encourage all of you to continue to play and enjoy Super Mario games, because to this day they are still some of the finest platformers on the market, and the series is more than worthy of celebration.